Hey there troops, it's me TheTacticalBrit, and Insurgency Sandstorm has recently announced they are delaying the game from a September 12th release to a December 12th release. This appears to be something that's almost a common trend recently, Battlefield 5 significantly delaying their game till November 20th from an early October release. And I think today I want to explain to you why I feel this is a good move, and why more importantly I feel Insurgency has the opportunity to be one of the best shooters on the market, provided it gets things right within this delay. It's no secret that I really enjoy Insurgency. The original game was something I really liked, but I felt, the source engine perhaps wasn't doing it justice, and I felt that the game could definitely do with some polish. And Insurgency Sandstorm is basically that. It's an upgraded, improved version of the game with the same formula and aiming to make the same strides. It has a ton of new features, it has an entirely new engine, and it's even releasing on consoles. And these are all brilliant strides that the game is making to take the original formula and transform it into something new and improved, while still retaining what made the original Insurgency very special and very enjoyable. I've played a lot of hours on Sandstorm already, managed to play it over at Gamescom as well, and the beta, which is now available, will still remain available until December 12th for any of you who do pre-order the game. So if you want to try Insurgency earlier and give it a shot before the final version comes out, that is definitely still an option available. But this was a good move. This delay made sense, and it was intelligent to do so on the basis of a few things. The first one is that the formula of Insurgency is more or less perfect. There's not much they need to change in terms of gameplay dynamics, but there are certainly things in terms of in-game balance and in-game performance that do need a significant amount of work. For starters, I feel the game suffers from some balancing issues, and this is down to the new map design and the same modes that they already have, like Push. Push is a game mode which is very much decided on the map design, and I found in certain games and in certain game modes there have been one-sided affairs, and this is something which has happened before in Insurgency, and it's something that will happen again. With the beta now running all the way up until the actual release on December 12th, this is the opportunity to shape that and change it in a better manner, and I think overall we'll get a much more polished and refined game in that sense with this delay. Alongside that is performance, and this is something that's really important in about 3 different ways. The first is that the game simply doesn't look good enough for it to run how it does. Insurgency Sandstorm is a good looking game, but it's not so incredibly stunning that it should be running below a certain frame rate. I think anything below 60 FPS, considering the current graphics, is kind of a bit of a downfall in my opinion. I think if the game looks something as visually stunning as, Battlefield 5 at 4K Ultra on steroids, then sure. But in its current state, I don't think the graphics currently reflect what the frame rate should be. The second thing is that performance is pretty big for the general gameplay of Insurgency as a whole. You need really high frame rates and the ability to snap really quickly to targets in a reactionary style way, and that's kind of necessary, and having a high frame rate definitely is part of that. It's a fundamental part of basically how Insurgency has worked for a very long time now, so hopefully some improvements can be made. The final thing is that the game is releasing on console, and we will probably need a 60 FPS region on both the base PS4 and the newer ones in order to get a successful working product. Verdun recently released on console at a really low frame rate and did not perform particularly well because it was just seen as a big sort of early access mess, which is something we definitely want to avoid for Insurgency on console, considering it could have a lot of success there as one of few hardcore shooters available on that market. Another good reason for this delay is that it allows Insurgency to refine and polish even more. This is something that's pretty prevalent in the game right now, and I think it does show in its current given state that if this were to release on September 12th, it would not be the game that most people are expecting in terms of just the fundamentals being correct. There are things like some of the animations being completely off or just not looking too great, and there's also new things as well like terrain collisions and stuff. One good example I found was that there was a hill that looked like I should definitely be able to run up it as any normal human being should, but just couldn't at all. It was really frustrating, and it was something that was really annoying to see, and it just felt very early access, if you get what I mean. And I think that gives the opportunity for Insurgency to just sort of keep having a few passes at their maps, keep having a few passes at their modes and their balancing, and then by the time the game does come out in December, it will be a very finely polished and refined product during a window which typically isn't that busy. December is a big time because lots of games are trying to release and show off all their shiny stuff. Battlefield in particular is releasing on November 20th, so we can get in before Christmas, but ultimately, if a new game comes along on December 12th for all PC gamers to play, I think a lot of them will look at it, see that they're about to be on holiday for Christmas and go, yeah, that's a good shout. Alongside that, with console coming out in early 2019, it does give Insurgency the opportunity to just carry on polishing, carry on refining, and getting things right on the console side of things. It's something that I'm going to be looking at quite extensively because I just do feel as though there is a lot of potential there. But ultimately, I really just think that on the whole, Insurgency's delay is not a bad delay. Yes, it might be disappointing to some that the final release of the game is not coming on September 12th, but you can play the beta up until December 12th right now. And ultimately that means that in the end we're going to have a much better game. You're not really losing out on any game hours, you're just losing out on game hours of a game that would have been better finished in December. And in actuality, I think the September release was unrealistic, and I don't think you would have enjoyed the final product, quote unquote, had it been received on September 12th. Whereas when it releases on December 12th, I think it's going to be a lot smoother, a lot more refined, and a lot more improved, and people will be satisfied with the money they're spending. Because all in all, Insurgency really isn't asking for that much money in comparison to AAA titles, but I feel, especially in terms of its co-op experience and its multiplayer experience, is offering a very similar standard of gameplay and a very similar standard of product availability, which I think is really cool. As always, troops, it's been me, the Tactical Brit. Let me know what you think about the delay down below, and I will catch you again in the next video.